much pressure is there on that first snap, first season, first game? First game of the second season.
I wouldn't like to call it pressure because I think at a certain point, you've been playing football your whole life, and of course you have those jitters, but after a while it kind of mellows out and just go do what you love.
What's the confidence level in this offensive line entering this game against Oregon?
Confidence. I think it's the same probably about as every game. These guys are really good. I've seen 50, I've seen 3. They're really good players, really twitchy. They move well, so I wouldn't want to necessarily call it confidence because, of course, we believe in ourselves, but at the end of the day, they're good players and we go out there and compete.
What have been your impressions of their inside linebackers that you've seen, Suel, Misfuna, and Justin Flow?
Really good players. They remind me a lot of the guys that we had here last year. They like to make those players fly around, but at the end of the day, we go out there and compete and do what we can.
Can you anticipate, or do you have to kind of anticipate what this defense is going to look like with Dan Lanning's touch on it?
I think to a certain extent. I think you have to kind of anticipate a little bit that, Coach Lanning will do what he loves to do and, send those pressures and things like that. But at the same time, I think we should also expect a bit of a mix-up, just something that he may have seen that, we do from being around us.
What does the competition at guard look like for you as the center, kind of learn to play with all these different guys that are rotating in and out at once?
I have supreme confidence in all those guys. Tate, Jared, Devin, Truss, Warren Erickson, whoever it may be, I have supreme confidence in all of them. And of course, it takes a while to get used to, but that was more of a thing for the spring, getting used to those guys and playing with them. But at a certain point, the footwork is the same. Guys may be a little bit bigger here and there or move a little bit faster, but at the end of the day, a combo is a combo. So go and play.
What's the risk reward for defense with all that pre-snap movement? We've seen your defense do it effectively. We know defenses will probably do that because you guys' size and power. But what's the defense basically rolling the dice on when they do that pre-snap movement on the line?
I think the risk is probably about how disciplined you are. I think that doesn't work if you're with a defense that's not as disciplined. But last year we had a team that was very disciplined, and I think Oregon will be very disciplined. So I think that the risk would be a lot less because it's a lot more reward when people can hold their water, not jump off sides, know their assignment, and move around. So I think it's a lot more risk on that side.
And how are you guys able to flip the switch? I would imagine it changes blocking assignments at times when they move, right?
Yeah, but that also comes from just knowing, because I think the pleasure and the advantage that we have is that we've gone against it a lot. So a lot of times you have all of those reps built up over the years of going through the mint defense, the 4 down, over G, under G, whatever it may be. And on the flip, it's a quick call and you go with it. And sometimes you just have to live with it.
I'm sure you've gone against Jalen Carter countless times in practice. What's, if there is, different about him this year compared to last year?
I would say it's focus. I think everyone knows Jalen Carter is a lot more quiet and he likes to stay to himself and, kind of be around other guys. Well, I think one thing he's done this year is really push the guys around him, Ty Ingram, Dawkins, helping out the guys like Naj, those type of guys, the Mike Hales, whoever it may be, and just really pushing those guys. That's the biggest step I've seen him take is just being more of a leader.
How has going against him in practice made you better?
It's a great question. I think every day, honestly, since spring, it's been like a war out there, just going at it. And, of course, sometimes tempers flare, but it's great to go against a guy like that because at the end of the day, you're going against one of the best guys in the country.
So do people know about Jalen and Ringo and Nolan? What about the rest of the defense that you guys see in practice? Who's kind of jumped out this month that maybe has taken a step?
I'm excited about a lot of the younger guys, Michael. I know Pop isn't, Javon Doomis Johnson, excuse me. I know he's not a younger guy per se, but I know he hasn't played much, and I'm really excited about him because the steps and the growth that he's taken is amazing. I think he's really done a good job of having our defense, aligned and everybody knowing the assignments and taking control of that head on. I'm really excited about him. I'm really excited about Kamari, Straps, I call him Lockdown, so that's my guy. But I'm excited about all those guys and just want to see him succeed.
Coaches have talked about Michael as one of those guys who will do extra, will be on the field after you guys are done. You've been here a little bit while now. Does he remind you of any of your former teammates?
That's a really good question. But because he's so young, I don't think I want to put him in that box yet. I don't think I want to put him in a box and compare him to anyone. I want him to just be comfortable and fill out and be Michael. So I'll hold off on it for right now.
How comfortable does he appear right now?
I think he's really comfortable, and I think that comes from playing around older players. I can remember vividly there was one time, in the 2-minute situation, I kind of got him in the package that we had, and I just remember hearing him saying the play, like, oh, that's smart. Like, I can't believe you did that, So I think going against like older players, the Warren McClendons, the Trust, Broderick Jones, whoever it is, I think it's really been helping them out a lot, in growing.
Cedrick, you compared Zion Logue, though, to the combination of Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt. You're a little harder on the D linemen than you are the secondary guys as far as expectations, or?
I wouldn't say I'm harder on them, but also let me say I wasn't saying that he's like an exact copy. What I was saying was that he has a bit of power and he also has that twitch. That was just what it was.
Has he come on? How much has Logue picked up from the fall, from what you saw in the spring?
I think the biggest place where he's grown is probably leadership. If I had to say, I think he's probably the biggest leader and the best leader that we have in the D-line group. So I think for me, that's probably the biggest thing is just how he has pushed the guys around him from summer conditioning to the stadium runs, whatever it may have been. That guy was always in the front with me, helping lead guys and, pushing. So that's somebody I see as one of the premier leaders of this team and somebody I respect.
Cedrick, we talk about the importance of all 5 offensive linemen being on the same page, kind of understanding what each other's going to do. What kind of progress have you seen, even since the summer to getting ready for the season, as far as you 5 linemen working together?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing has been that we tried to spend a lot of time outside of football to try and build that connection. That's one of our core pillars of this team is connection. So spent a lot of time on the weekends working out, whether that's going out to eat or, coming in on Sundays, getting the extra lifting and things like that. Playing the game together, whatever it may be, but just trying to make sure whenever we're not dealing with school or directly with practice that we're spending as much time with each other as possible.
What differences or changes have you seen in Stetson, if at all?
In Stetson, I would probably say his communication level. I think that's one of the biggest things. Stetson and I communicate a lot, throughout practice, different things we may see from the defense. He's always, calling and texting me about coming watch film together so we see things on the same way. So I would say his communication has been stellar and something that he's improved in a lot.
Even though you guys have never faced Oregon, do you feel like coaches and players maybe do feel a little more familiar with the team, just given the fact, I know you talked about Dan Lanning, but Bo Nix as well?
For sure. There's a lot of similarities that a lot of people don't see. I know Coach B-Mac was there, so I know there's some familiarity there, excuse me. So, we're excited. Honestly, it's a thing where, we feel a lot more connected to those guys and, we're taking it like, a really competitive game. I know a lot of people may want us to slack off, but these guys are good, man. We want to go in there, we want to compete, so we're going to take it for what it is. It's every game, and that's how we take it.
Is it fair to compare it to the Clemson prep in intensity? Would you say that this game's on par with that?
I'm not sure. It's definitely 2 different feelings, from last year and this year. As far as the opponents, just for the simple fact of it's a new team, as far as us. We're 2 different teams. I think last year we were very senior-led and we were an older team. And I think this year, we're going to have to rely on some younger guys. So it's a little bit different feeling, just not from the opponent's sense, but from our sense.
So with all the older guys coming back that were on that championship team, do you feel any sort of difference in the way you guys are preparing, knowing what you did last year?
Nah, Coach Smart wouldn't allow that.
Coach
Smart wouldn't allow us to prepare any differently. But what I can say is that it definitely allows for more of an opportunity for guys to step up and lead. In practice, things get tough. It's 90-something degrees, and you're hitting each other. You've been hitting each other for a month now, and you get tired of it. You want to go hit somebody else, and I think it just allows for other guys to step up and lead. Those older guys that have been here for so long, it allows for those guys to lead. That's where last year it was already set in stone. Those guys as a collective group were the leaders, and that's just what it was. And I think this year it allows for more opportunity for other guys to step up.
Cedrick, we heard a lot about Kenny going through fall camp. What sort of stood out to you about what he was able to do getting ready for the season?
How explosive he is. It's amazing how if you give that guy an inch, just one hole, he can take it 70 yards. And that's something that we learned, through our team run periods, scrimmages, whatever it may have been, that if you give that guy room, he can definitely make something happen. So that's probably what I'll say on that.
What does that mean to you as a lineman to know he's got that capability?
It's good for us because I think a lot of times when those big runs spring off, you're not necessarily thinking of it. You're just thinking about doing your job. But it's a beautiful thing to watch when everybody does their job collectively. And this guy got the A-gap open for a half a second, and he made it a 15-yard run. So it's definitely something beautiful to see and something we look forward to.
Let's do 2 more questions. Or 1 more.
So how excited are you to be able to focus on an opponent? Going against each other all summer?
I think it's amazing. The simple fact of, we were able to finally watch film and, be able to see these guys and see how good they are. Was really impressed with the defensive line and their interior linebackers. So we're really excited to go out there and compete and, have a good game.
Thank you.